Hi champions! In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to speak Wild Rift. I'll be going through common terms used in Wild Rift and explain what it means. Terminology in MOBAs are very important for you to understand completely what you need to do or what is going on. My name is Teeds. Feel free to subscribe and click the bell for more Wild Rift guides and gameplay. Let's begin with the most commonly used terms. With these terms, I will also include an example in the background. Champions. Champions are the playable characters in Wild Rift. CC. CC stands for crowd control. There are two types of crowd control. We have hard crowd control and soft crowd control. Hard crowd control are things like knockups, knockbacks, stuns, and more. Soft crowd control are things like slows, silences, and more. Soft CC is basically crowd control that does not stop the enemy from moving. In other words, crowd control refers to anything which prevents a player or monster/minion's ability to fight or escape. AOE. AOE stands for Area of Effect. That is basically any ability or attacks that can affect multiple targets. So for example here, this ability only hits one target, whereas this ability can hit multiple targets in the area. Peel or peeling. Peeling is use of crowd control to force an enemy off an ally who is trying to escape or retreat. Peeling is also preventing incoming damage on their targeted teammate. Gank or ganking. Ganking is basically a surprise attack. You'll be surprising the enemy you're ambushing. Rotating. Rotating is traveling to other lanes to help or gank. So basically, you could be in the middle lane and then run over to the top or bottom lane to either gank or assist. That is rotating. Pushing or split pushing. Pushing means moving forward with your minion wave towards an enemy's turret or defenses to build pressure or take down. Split pushing is a strategy used which generally forces the enemy to either retreat from what they're doing or continue to let you push. Burst. Burst is dealing a crazy high amount of damage in a short amount of time. Squishy. Squishy refers to a champion who has lower base health and/or defense. Squishy champions are just very easy to kill. Aggro. Short for aggression. A player may ask you to take aggro, which means take aggression, from the minions or enemy defenses, such as turrets who attack the champions if there are no minions in range. Sometimes players will share aggro, meaning taking turns on taking damage from turrets in order to achieve a goal. Leash. Leashing is when a player helps a teammate or jungler with killing a jungle camp. Last hit. Securing the last hit on a minion or camp to ensure they get the gold, XP, or buff. Last hitting also ensures you get the kill on champions if they're one hit away from death. You may hear an ally say, "I need the last hits." Missing. An enemy is missing from their lane. Usually players should be more careful in case a gank is going to happen. SMURF. A player who is on an alternate account, so usually more experienced players who want to play against newer players or they just want to make a new account. B, base, back, recall. There's a lot of things to say for it, but this basically means to go back to base. Some players will say things like gonna be or going back to base. Farm or farming. Farming is just spending time to kill things, so minions to gain XP or to earn gold. You'll hear things like I need a farm or you need to farm. Usually those who are behind or under-leveled will say these things. KS stands for kill steal or kill securing, whichever you want to see it as. When players take last hits or take the kill without doing much that would have otherwise been the other player's kill if no one took it. FF/surrender. Forfeit or surrender. Usually if the game is going not too great, players will ask for a FF or a surrender. Kite or kiting. Attempting to deal damage to an enemy while avoiding their damage. Juke or juking. Avoiding enemy damage and incoming abilities, causing the enemy to waste their abilities and attacks as you are dodging them. Bait or baiting. Luring an enemy to a gank, a fight, or a trap. Invade. Enter enemy territory, usually in the jungle, with the goal of stealing or killing enemy camps or the enemy jungler. Initiating or engage. This is usually for frontliners such as tanks, fighters, supports, etc., or it's those who have some form of crowd control. These will usually start a team fight or a fight in general. Defend. Defend your defenses like turrets and more. Usually used when you're at a disadvantage, such as the enemy has a big buff or you're down some teammates. Harass/poke. Poking is usually for those who have long-range attacks and forces enemies to play defensively. Harassing an enemy will force enemies to retreat. Dive or tower diving or turret diving. Continue to attack an enemy under their defenses with the goal of killing them. This is a riskier move which can pay off if done correctly. Zoning. Zoning prevents enemies from moving freely. This can be used to keep enemies away from others or from farming minions, so they would not earn as much gold. Basically, it's controlling your enemy's location. DPS stands for damage per second. ADC stands for attack, damage, carry, also known as ADR, which stands for attack, damage, range. ADC is usually like the marksman role in Wild Rift. A lot of players tend to say we need an ADC or I want to ADC instead of using the words marksman or the role. AD. AD stands for attack damage, which is physical damage. AP. AP stands for ability power, which is magical damage. AS stands for attack speed. True damage. True damage is damage that is not affected by any counter items. So for example, physical damage can be countered by purchasing armor, while magical damage can be countered with magical resistance. Lifesteal. Lifesteal allows attacking something and gaining health back when damaging an enemy. Lifesteal can be obtained from certain items, or some champions may have some form of their own lifesteal. CDR. Cooldown reduction. Reducing the time of your abilities so they are up quicker and can be obtained through items. Creeps or minions. There are monsters in the jungle which are sometimes referred to as creeps or jungle camps. Minions are the waves that run into the lanes to battle other minions or champions. Buff. Buff is to make something stronger. Nerf. Nerf is to make something weaker. DOT or dot. Damage over time. This is basically tick damage, smaller damage over time usually, instead of like the instant larger damage. Ace. Ace is when every player on the enemy team is dead. Aura. A passive either from a champion or item which grants a buff to yourself and allies around you. Passive. A passive is an ability which does not need to be activated. Instead, it is always on or it automatically applies, triggering from certain situations. BD. BD stands for backdoor. Backdooring is to attack or sneak into the enemy base without minions and take down the enemy's defenses or nexus. Dragon Lane. Dragon Lane is the duo lane where a support and ADC would go. This lane has a blue indicator at spawn. Baron Lane. Baron Lane is the solo lane, so this would just be a 1v1. Baron. Baron Nashor is a jungle boss. Killing the Baron Nashor grants the Hand of the Baron buff, which enhances nearby allied minions, reduces recall time, and increases your damage. You'll tend to hear calls such as attack the Baron or asking for assistance on taking down the Baron, and some players just call it the Nashor instead of Baron. Turret. Turrets are your defenses in the game. Feed or feeder. A player who is dying constantly or intentionally. They are feeding the other team more XP and gold, hence the title feed or feeder. HYPERCARRY. A carry who excels in the late game and becomes stronger and stronger as the game goes on. Main. They exclusively play a certain champion or this is their favorite champion. For example, I could say I main Lux. Meta. Meta stands for most effective tactic available. It's the most effective way to achieve the goal of the game, the current best strategy, builds, playstyle, etc. Noob. A new player to the game or someone who lacks experience means newbie. OP. OP stands for overpowered. When something is way too strong that is not balanced at all. OMW stands for on my way. Snowball. When an enemy or ally secures an early advantage. When this happens, they will be stronger than most in the game at that point. Toxic. A player who is pretty negative. Tower hugging or turret hugging. Standing under your tower, turret, or defenses so enemy players cannot attack you or it would put them at risk if they try to. That is all for today's video. I thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what Wild Rift guides or gameplay you would like. Like the video if you found this helpful, I would very much appreciate it. I hope to see you again for the next one. Bye!